This is my 2005 VW Golf GT TDI. I took this Golf looking from this to this. I've fitted a Mark 5 GTI front bumper to it. We've got some alloy wheels off an Audi TT. We've got dynamic indicators, LED number plate lights, a set of custom reg plates from Reg Plate King, and a completely custom straight piped exhaust system. And it's also been remapped, taking it from 140 horsepower to about 180. And in this video, I'm going to be swapping this car with a complete stranger. There's the two keys for the beloved Golf. Because I've set myself an insane challenge of swapping my way up to owning a supercar. It all started from this 2011 Vauxhall Astra that I bought for £150, repaired and then swapped for a Volkswagen Golf. I then blew the turbo up while driving the Golf home, which left me with a broken car on the driveway. So I decided I was going to replace the turbo myself, and luckily it all worked out for the best. But now it's time to move the Golf on in hopes of swapping for a car of more value. But before I take some pictures of this Golf and put it up on the for sale / swaps pages, there's a few things that need doing beforehand. And no, I'm not going to be modifying this car anymore. I'm talking about the lacquer peel and the horrible old red paint that needs sorting. We've got lacquer peel on the bonnet, lacquer peel on the wing mirrors, and these wings are a complete different colour. And I think it would be a little bit criminal to offer this car up for swaps with the paint looking as bad as it does. Let's go see Vanny. So we're going to be leaving the car here with Vanny at Paint by DJV, where he's going to rectify all of the paint issues with this car. He's obviously going to fill in this sill that Charlie welded. He's going to respray and re-lacquer the wing mirrors, the bonnet, and of course repaint the two wings that were a slight different colour. This time I actually gave him the right paint code, so once Vanny has finished working his magic, this car is going to look amazing. And it was only a few days later when I got the call that the Golf was all finished. And just like that, the Golf is back and it is looking absolutely amazing. This car almost looks brand new. And once again, an absolute 10 out of 10 job by my mate Vanny. If you do want any paint doing, you know the one and only place to come. That is Paint by DJV. I'll put his Instagram on the screen and also all the links in the description below. If you want any paint doing, this is the place to come. He's made this Golf look absolutely unreal. Right, let's move on. I really cannot believe how good this Golf is looking compared to what it looked like when we first bought it. It looks like a complete different car. The paint that Vanny has done looks absolutely spot on. This bonnet literally looks like glass. Obviously the wing mirrors have been painted as well. They're now lacquered and looking amazing. And of course this sill that my mate Charlie welded up and Vanny has now sprayed literally looks OEM. Absolutely buzzing with how this has turned out. But the only thing now is everything that I've wanted to do and had to do to this Golf is now done, and all good things must come to an end. And how the car is currently sitting, I actually can't fault it at all. All the paint's been sorted, the wheels look better, the welding's been done, the car is looking the best it has looked in a long time. But if you've clicked on this video, you must have read the title, so you know that I'm trying to swap my way up to a supercar, which means this has got to go. So while the car was at Vanny's having the paintwork done, I decided to announce that I was putting this car up for swaps. And after having quite a lot of offers, I've managed to find one that I think is a huge step in the right direction. And I honestly don't think anyone will be able to guess what car we are actually swapping for the Golf. But if you have any ideas, leave them down in the comments and we'll see if you're right a little bit later in the video. So I guess there's nothing left to do except take this Golf 2.5 hours away to swap it with a complete stranger that I've never met before and hope that we're getting a good deal. I guess, let's go. And after a quick fuel stop, we hit the road to enjoy the last drive in my Volkswagen Golf GT TDI. I really can't believe how far this car has come and how much you guys have enjoyed the content on this car. But now we're driving it 3 hours to a place called Swindon, where we're going to be swapping it for the next project. And it wasn't long until we got there and I saw the new car for the first time. Okay. The Golf has completed. I tell you what, this car is now a good car. It is a very good little car. 2 hours 45 minutes and we're about to pull up and see the new car for the first time. It should be anywhere around here. I'm a bit nervous because I don't know the car. Do you know what I mean? It might not even get us home, but I guess all we've got to do is cross our fingers. Right, let's find it. Oh my god, it actually looks well nice. Oh no. I don't think anyone is going to be able to guess what this is in the comments below. And I think it's safe to say this Golf has turned out to be a pretty reliable car. It served me a great purpose, but it's time for the new owner to enjoy it. So let me introduce you guys to Dan. Nice to meet you, mate.
How you doing, Jesse? You alright?
Not bad, not bad. What I want to know, and what the people at home want to know, is before I show them the car that you've offered me, why do you want the Golf? What do you want to do with the Golf?
I want to be silly, and the Golf is a silly car. It's for doing silly things. So
I knew it'd be some people.
Anyone at home who's saying, "Oh, you know, it shouldn't be this loud, or shouldn't have a jack can on it," I don't care. It should do. It's a silly car, and it should do silly things.
So this is going to take you on about going travelling.
Yes.
You're going travelling. So this is. It's just going to do you for the time being.
Yeah, while I'm fixing up my Octavia, this is going to be doing me as a little run around and just have some fun in and then grab parts and everything that no doubt I'll forget to do before I take a wheel off. Or...
I'm going to miss it. I'm really going to miss it. But Dan has offered me a car that I could not refuse. It's a lot different to this. It's got a lot more class and it's just kind of a big, good step in the right direction. So I think that's enough about the Golf. Shall we show them the new car? Okay, so without any further ado, if you guessed right in the comments below, then literally I don't know how you've done that, but this is the car we have swapped for the Golf. It is a 2006 Mercedes CLS. Now, like I say, if you guessed it right, then I don't know how you've done that, but this is the car that is replacing the beloved Golf for the swapping series, and I think it is a great step in the right direction, especially value-wise. I mean, the spec on this car, this is just not something that I'm used to. We've got this kind of actually quite nice brown interior. We've got all these buttons. We'll have a proper good look around this car when we get home. Automatic gearbox. Is a 3-litre V6 turbo, so it has got all the poke that you would ever need. And yeah, I'm actually, well, I'm over the moon with it, to be honest. From behind, this thing looks, well, brand spanking new, if I'm honest. And yeah, don't get me wrong, there's a couple of little issues that are gonna need rectifying, but that is kind of what happens when you're swapping a cheaper car for a more expensive car. There is things that are gonna need doing, but this is the new car for the channel. I honestly never thought I'd be saying, but your boy has got a Mercedes-Benz. Out of all the cars, a Mercedes-Benz. We've got digital dashboard, automatic gear. This has got such a huge spec on it, and well, it's way above my league. I'm not bougie enough for this kind of car, but for now, there's one thing left to do, and that's give the keys to Dan and get the keys for this Mercedes. There's the two keys for the beloved Golf.
Swap your two for the Halford special key.
Look at that. We've even got a red carbon fibre key.
Real carbon fibre, that is.
Real carbon, yeah.
And you've got
there's
your
the value.
as well.
Spare key as well. Look at that.
Nice
Can't get any better, mate. I'll shake your hand. Thank you very much.
Cheers,
very
Jesse.
much. Well, that is it. The Golf has driven off and there's only one thing left for us to do, and that's take my new Mercedes-Benz 3 hours home, and then we could have a proper good look around it and tell you guys a little bit more about the car and what the plan actually is. Let's get this car home and we'll have a proper good look around it. It's automatic. I haven't had an automatic car in ages. We have got an engine light, but don't worry about that. We'll get into it. I don't know how to use this. Is that the handbrake off? That's the handbrake off. Can we now go into drive? Is that drive? We're going. We're going. Right. Let's take my new Mercedes 3 hours home. Like this. Let's go. So we headed off 3 hours home in my new Mercedes-Benz. I can't actually believe that we swapped the Golf for this. What an upgrade, and what a nice guy Dan was. But like I said, the engine light was actually on when I got the car, and it wasn't long after, when we hit the motorway, that I realised why. Well, we've got our first problem. It's just got into limp mode and it literally won't go over like 40 mile an hour. So luckily I have brought the diagnostics in the back, and well, we'll see what's happening. I just need to try and get out and turn it off. Well, I guess it's probably a good time to say shout out to Top Don for sending this diagnostic tool out. This one is like a proper handy bit of kit. You can read and write to the ECU with this one, and I'll well, it's a perfect time to demonstrate it because, well, we've actually got into limp mode. Oh no, we're like 2.5 hours away from home as well. All I can do now is plug the diagnostics in and hope and pray that whatever the problem is with this car, it's not serious enough to warrant us calling the breakdown out. But then I ran into yet another problem. To get to the OBD port on these cars, they're located in the driver's seat footwell behind this little door. And when I opened the one on my car, I noticed that the OBD port was actually missing. Luckily, I did have one screwdriver set in the boot, which I can undo the Torx screws holding this little under tray on and drop down the plastic so I can see if the OBD port has maybe fallen out of its location. Found it. That's the OBD port. That is meant to be in this little compartment here, but I'm not going to put it in there. I'll fix it when I get home just to make sure it's definitely fixed in case we need it again. But at least I can scan it through. Well, this is either going to be a AA job, or whatever the problem is, I can wipe it and try again. It was okay until I started like accelerating onto the motorway, then it came up with this problem. So yeah, fingers crossed it's nothing too serious. It's one of them that I could hopefully just at least get the car into a mode to get us home. But yeah, I guess we'll see. So I'm going to let the Top Don diagnostic tool do its thing and scan all the modules on this car. I'll leave the link to the diagnostic tool down in the description below because this thing is a proper good bit of kit. Well, I was hoping that I was going to be able to get the car home and then tell you guys that there is some sort of problem with this car, but I guess it's become a fault a bit sooner than I'd have liked. But while this is scanning through the system to find out what's wrong, guys, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. 65% of the people that are watching this video right now aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you can hit that button down below, I'm doing my best to try and hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you could do that for me, that'd be massively appreciated. Let's see what's up with this Merc. Here's the fault code here. We've got a engine control module fault, which is 2359-1. Check system, charge pressure control, too low boost pressure. Whatever that means. I mean, we've got a couple of like random ones for the driver's side door, heated mirror and stuff like that. Nothing for the transmission, luckily. I mean, all I can do at the side of the road is clear the fault, which it has cleared. And I guess we're just gonna have to take the car and drive it. I'm hoping that is a sensor or a vacuum line or something, not another turbo job. But I guess we'll just have to wait for a gap in the road, in the traffic, and well, see how long we can drive it for. fingers crossed. So now that fault code is cleared off the car, all I can do is cross my fingers and go and test if it has actually worked. It's driving. Okay, we're back on the road and it's not in limp mode. I think I'm just going to take it really, really easy until we get home and maybe kind of test it when we're local, so we're not stranded 2.5 hours away. But so far so good, I think. Maybe it just needed the fault clearing. And to my surprise, the engine light stayed off the entire trip home. And I've got to say, this is one of the most comfortable, relaxing and nicest cars I have ever driven. The old Mercedes, I will be honest, really do make a good car. But it did keep going into limp mode, but didn't throw an engine light on the dashboard, which I found really weird. We are now 10 minutes from home, and the car has been pretty much faultless all the way. It did go into limp mode once again, but I was able to actually use it in manual, so we actually didn't end up getting stuck at the side of the road. But since then, we've been driving for about an hour now, and it's not gone into limp mode once. It's driving absolutely fine. So I'm wondering whether, I don't know, maybe the cat or something was clogged up, or the EGR, and it needed to burn it all off, because for the last year it's done really, really short trips. So maybe we fixed it by simply just driving it. I'm not sure, we'll have to find out. But we're 10 minutes from home. I think it's going to make it. Well, little did I ever think that this car would be sat on the driveway. But this is my new Mercedes CLS 320. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out tomorrow morning, show you guys round, and give you guys a bit of an insight as to what's actually wrong with this car. But for now, it's made it home, it's on the driveway, and I think this is a massive step in the right direction for this series. Well, I'd be lying if I said that it doesn't kind of blow my mind that we've now got this Mercedes on the driveway when we started out with a Vauxhall Astra. Now, even though this car did complete the 3-hour drive home, it is definitely worth more than the Golf that we swapped it for. Not only is Dan just a really generous person, but there is also a couple more issues that I'm yet to tell you about with this Mercedes. And the first one is what became apparent on the way home, and that is some sort of boost, low pressure kind of issue that we're getting on the dashboard. Every now and then the car will go into limp mode when you put your foot down, as if something's blocked. Maybe it's the EGR, maybe because the car has only done 5-minute trips for the last year, it just needs a good run and a good clearing out. The reason I think that might be the case is because if we pop off this engine cover, you will see a brand spanking new Garrett turbo. I'm not sure who put this on, but that to me looks pretty new. It is a Garrett as well, so I'm assuming that that isn't going to be the issue. So I'm hoping we've either got a sensor issue or maybe just a simple vacuum line, and we can get this car up to its full performance. The next issue is actually to do with this driver's side window. It doesn't fully go all the way up. It's kind of, come off the runner, and obviously needs sorting out and putting back where it should kind of be. Luckily, the door does still open and shut, but as you can see, the glass is literally movable. So at some point, when we do start fixing it all up, we're going to have to take this door card off, which I don't think should be too bad of a job. Take the door card off and reseat that window exactly where it should be. And you're probably thinking, unlike the Astra and unlike the Golf, there's actually not a great deal wrong with this car. It's a genuine straight car. Which for content may not be the best thing in the world, but the good thing is with this series is I don't actually have to keep a car for very long. Once that car is a-okay and back up to how it should be, I can enhance it a little bit and then move it on pretty much straight away. Now this car is not going to be a massive content car and make loads of videos, but what it is going to do is help us get that one step closer to that supercar. Because if we have a quick search on Auto Trader, we can see mostly what these cars are selling for. There's one here that's done 61,000 miles that's actually for sale for £5,500. There's one here on 92,000 which is for sale for £3,695. There's one here on 78,000 for 3,400, which of course opens the question as to how many miles has my Mercedes-Benz done. Now, the reason I've been showing you these cars is because the good thing with this car is it actually puts me in the ballpark price range of what these are selling for, because my Mercedes has only done 90,500 miles, which for a 2006 3-litre diesel V6 is literally only just ran in. So if we take this one for example, which is in silver as well, granted it is 1 year newer than this one, this is going for £3,700 and it's actually done 1,500 miles more than this Mercedes. Which I'm hoping means once we've got the few little issues sorted on this Mercedes and got the wheels refurbed, maybe put some spacers on it and just done some OEM Plus upgrades, I'm hoping that puts us in the ballpark of anywhere from £3,000 to £4,000, which then opens up a whole different ballpark to play when I'm upgrading from this car. So no, there isn't loads of content in this car, but there is loads of potential. But with that being said, let me show you around a bit more. So like I've said plenty of times now, this is a 2006 Mercedes CLS 320, which means it has the 3-litre V6 diesel engine that produces 221 brake horsepower, and what I've been told is apparently near 500 Newton meters of torque. So it's safe to say it does definitely pull really nice. We've also got some AMG wheels on here. I'm not sure if they're standard or if someone's put them on aftermarket, but we're definitely gonna have to take a visit to the wheelman because these have definitely seen better days. Electric folding wing mirrors and this kind of off red brownish kind of interior. It's actually not as bad as it looks on camera. It's actually quite a nice place to be. We've also got electric seats. One thing that I've never ever had in a car that I've owned is electric seats that go back and forward. That is something that I'm really not used to. We've also got an automatic gearbox in this car, which is the second automatic car I have ever owned, and I've got to be honest, I'm a big fan. It is so much easier and nicer to drive, not having to worry about going up and down gears. Maybe I'm just getting a bit old. We've got auto headlights, we've got AC, we've literally got everything. Heated seats, we've got cruise control. It is such a high spec car. We've got a cup holder here. This is actually a refrigerated slash AC cooled kind of armrest. We had our drinks in there yesterday and the AC actually blows through and keeps everything cool in there. This, I'm not sure what this is, I've got to be honest. It's got batteries. Oh, okay, it's for a SIM card, so that's something that I'm probably never ever going to use because that went with the dinosaurs, I think. So we'll put that right back where it came from. We've also got rear climate control as well, so whoever's sat in the back can control how hot or cold they want the car. That is also a working clock, which I didn't even realise till about an hour into driving. I thought that was my RPM and I was wondering why it was doing nearly 11,000 RPM, but it's actually a clock. That was me being blonde for a second there. But obviously that's the rev gauge and that is the miles per hour. There's also digital kind of readings for the fuel and digital readings for the water temperature, which is just something that is mental for a 2006 car. I do think this is one of them cars that I could talk about all day because it's got so much to it and so much spec, but I might as well make a start on fixing a couple of these little problems. The first one, this OBD port should be kind of fixed in this little, well, door that they use on these Mercedes-Benz, and well, clearly it's fallen out. So I've got to try and figure out a way of getting this to stay in its position in case we need to use this OBD port again, and for now, doesn't seem like it wants to stay. Let's figure it out. The problem was actually that the little plastic tabs that hold the OBD port into the little door compartment had actually snapped off. So what I'm going to do to fix it, just so we don't have to undo this little under tray thing again, I'm going to just super glue it back into position, and if I ever need to remove it, I can just cut through the super glue and remove it that way. And now we've got an OBD port back where it belongs. Well, at least that's one little problem solved. Not a massive one, just a little problem that I encountered on the way back from picking this car up. Now, the only thing is, when I turn the ignition on, we are well overdue a service on this car, so that is something that we're going to have to sort out in the next video. We'll service it, and then with the top down machine we can actually reset the service interval so it is a proper kind of mechanic garage job. And I think there's one more error on the dashboard, which is top up washer fluid, so it makes perfect sense to quickly do that now. And now, with a bit of luck, there shouldn't be any error message on the dashboard for the washer fluid, which there isn't. Right, a quick job well done. But before we dive in and actually proper get cracking with this car, I want to take it on a drive and see if that error code does come back up. Maybe it just needed driving, but now we're local, I can actually put my foot down and see if I can make it come back on. At least then we can scan the car and actually get the correct fault code. Okay, let's take it on a drive. When the actual problem came up is when I got onto the motorway and started harshly accelerating up to the speed limit. So now we're local, I'm gonna drive it a bit more spiritually, if that's even a word, and see if that code comes back on. And as I expected, driving normally without any harsh accelerating, the car is absolutely spot on. The only thing left to do now is put my foot down and see if that code comes back up. Okay, national speed limit. Okay, it's kicked down. Wow, it's actually quite quick. How is it moving like that for a big poo? Oh my God, why is that so quick? That is the first general time I've put my foot down. There's no smoke at all out the back, which is great. That is really, really fast. Like that climbed speeds I was not expecting for a car this big. Is it in limp mode? No, it's kicked down and it's pulling again. No smoke. The way that climbs up the miles per hour is actually really impressive. I mean, I know it's a big 3-litre diesel engine, but for how big the actual car is, that has actually really surprised me. That has really surprised me. That is actually quite powerful, I'll be honest. But the question is, no, it's still not gone into limp mode because it's kicking down. I noticed when it went into limp mode, it'd go up the gears really quick, obviously because it's in like a safe precaution mode. But then I also noticed that it wouldn't kick down on the gearbox, so even if you let off the throttle and pushed it back down all the way, the car wouldn't kick down, it'd just stay in that gear. So you had to go into manual to kind of get it to go anywhere. But as of now, I've just, that was literally foot flat, and we're still good. We're still boosting, we're still all right. Well, I'm going to call that a good result. Maybe it's fixed, maybe it isn't, but next video we're going to dive deeper into a few of the issues, get that window sorted, the car needs a service, and we've got a few bits to do to it before we actually put it up for swaps. So what I want to know is what you guys think to this swap down below in the comments, whether we've come off better, come off worse, or if you think this was the wrong decision. Let me know down below. I know this car is going to be niche for whoever wants it next, but it's a good car, it's low mileage, and it's worth more than the Golf. So with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below, leave your comments and subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one. Peace.
You wear a hat they call dad. Me, I'm the dad in a hat. You just like clubbing and clothes. Me, I like afternoon naps. 3 happy meals for the road. My oldest like counting racks. My middle one, she's in a dirt bike. My youngest is just like a